is recording.
Could you imagine if we sat here and talked for an hour and a half and we weren't recording?
I feel like I've heard that in podcasts before where they're like, this is our second time recording this because
no.
I can't imagine.
There would be no episode 3.
It'd be like delayed.
And because how do you go back through with the same like emphasis and excitement? I'd be so.
Yeah, I know. Especially with our show, because I feel like we're a little bit more spontaneous.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, guys, this is not scripted.
No.
We don't speak before this.
No, we don't. Actually, I had so many things to tell you today, and I was like, wait for the pod.
I think that. Oh, what do you have to tell me?
Well, first of all, I wanted to tell you that just for you, I'm drinking non-chilled red wine.
You know, last night or the other night when I had that Instagram story and I was sitting outside on the balcony with my wine was freezing and it was very cold. I didn't like it because it just tastes cold. I don't taste wine. I just taste like cold, you know?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Like when it's warm, you can get like all the, you know.
The flavors.
Yeah. I don't know if that makes sense. But
I have this like knot in my hair.
What else do you have to tell me?
Well, I mean, I wanted to announce something on the podcast, but then I figured it might be best if I announce it next week. Something exciting.
But you're not going to say it right now?
No, you already know.
Oh, I was going to tell you that that's what I'm drinking for in celebration of you, but I didn't know. I was like, I don't know if I should say that because...
Yeah, next week we'll announce the big positive news for me. And for anyone who wants me to be pregnant, that's not it. I'm drinking wine.
Oh, good. I'm glad you said that because I was about to. Okay, cool. I'll skip over that. I'll take that out of my notes.
That would be like amazing though, Candice. If I did get pregnant, it would be like the best thing to tell you on the podcast, so I could get your reaction.
I would scream for 1 hour. That would be episode 3, me screaming. Oh wow, I would be so excited.
You know what though? I feel like we shouldn't put the pod on YouTube until we get a better background set up.
Yeah, I thought of that. So I just tried to move my computer a minute ago because I have this whole entire bare wall right here that's in the closet. There's no shelf or anything. It's so weird. And I could just back up against that and like put some, I don't know, just have it blank, I guess.
Yeah, that would be good. I want to get some like soundproofing, like those like little foam things that you buy. I mean, depending on how much they cost.
Yeah. Can't you just get like the egg crate or something for your bed?
I was actually just thinking that. I was like, that would probably actually be, it would probably be cheaper too.
Yeah, way cheaper. They're at like Dollar General.
Yeah.
We gotta start small.
Yeah, right.
We'll move our way up. So last week after we recorded, the next morning I was thinking about it and I messaged you and I was like, we didn't say our names. We didn't say the name of the podcast. And she was like, you know what you're listening to, which is true. You do. I mean, I know what I'm listening to when I click on a podcast, but this no fucking way.
Mm-hmm.
And Candice, this is my voice.
I'm Deanna.
Do you think we sound the same?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so either. But I hear that on so many podcasts I listen to. Everyone's like, this is my voice and this is my voice. They sound so different. I don't know.
Yeah, like Morbid. They sound so similar. I'm like, I have no idea who's who.
Yeah, I felt like that too. But I didn't listen long enough to tell them apart, I guess. We have a Patreon shout out.
Ooh, who is it?
I didn't tell you about it because I was like, save it for the pod.
Save it for the pod.
It's Mother Murder herself, Suzanne Caps.
Aww.
$5 donut. Yeah, it took her long enough. 2 weeks, Mom. Just kidding.
Mommy Caps. Thank you so much.
Oh, and our fan mail went out this week. I know I'm using that in like reverse terms, but we're fans of you guys for listening. So we're sending you mail. So check your mail. And tag us. Open it, put it on your Instagram story, tag us, we'll share it. It's very cute. It was fun to send out.
Yeah, I really like that stamp that you got.
I know. I don't tell them.
Oh, they don't know what it is yet.
It's a surprise. Also, Deanna and I found out that we have listeners in fucking Belgium and Alaska.
Oh yeah.
Unbelievable. I don't even know. I don't know how that's a thing. But that's very exciting. Hey, what's up, fucking Belgium and Alaska? When we go on tour,
Yes.
we're going first. Belgium, Alaska, we'll circle back to the US.
Yeah, definitely Belgium first. Anywhere out of the country, we're going first. So
right.
If people in Italy could start listening, I'd love to go to Italy.
Right.
Iceland, please. Listeners in Iceland, please download.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
We could just go there anyway. We could do like an impromptu.
Oh, yeah.
A little surprise show.
Yeah, we could do that.
2 people sitting in the Cody and Peter.
Yeah, so how did your hair thinning thing go?
Did you see my picture?
Yeah.
On I have like no hair. I mean, my hair is so thin.
It still looks so thick.
I did it for way too long though. I thinned my hair out for like 1 hour. I could have put together like a small dog out of the hair that was in my sink.
That was a lot of hair.
I should have done it months ago. As soon as I chopped it off, I should have, because I was like a little mushroom top. Oh, it was so nice.
It does look different, so.
Yeah, it's it's also straight, and I never straighten it. I think it looks really bad straight, but I had to straighten it so I could thin it. It's also really hard to thin your hair out yourself, because have you seen the thinning shears?
Mm-hmm.
So you're just supposed to like kind of, you don't like close them all the way, but I'm like in the back of my head and I'm just chopping and just like putting hair into the sink. But it feels better, so.
Who cares what the back looks like?
Yeah, I don't see the back.
No.
You know, all those, I laugh so hard when I see all those memes of the girls in like middle school and high school or whatever grade school, where they've like got the front of their hair like perfectly straight and then the back is all poofy and squiggly. I'm like, that's still me today. That's not me like middle school, high school. That's me right this minute.
Yeah, unfortunately it's me as well. I don't really straighten my hair anymore though. I actually don't do anything to it.
I know, I hate straightening my hair, but my hair's so like kinky, I have to straighten it so I can curl it. I know it makes no sense.
Why don't you just embrace the kinky?
Because it's only kinky in the back. It's only kinky,
really?
Like my ears back and the front is like this.
That's so weird.
No one knows who I really am. And I'll never show anyone.
No. When
never
we start showing us on YouTube for real, we've got to be our real selves.
Like this. No. Oh no, I wouldn't do that.
I look horrible.
So this isn't going on YouTube, right? Are we not going to do that?
I don't think so, because I just think it's a bad look.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Okay,
now that I've said that, I'm going to put my hair up.
Okay.
It's so hot in the closet. Oh, shoot. I moved my
you remember last week when we were talking about when we were doing the Would You Rathers, and we said that like we didn't know a 10 in our personal lives?
Yeah.
Brian texts me, Cassidy's fiance. He texts me and he goes, and it was so late at night when he listened, I guess, because I didn't see it till the next morning, and he goes, "Excuse me, you don't know a 10." And I redeemed myself by telling him he was an 11.
Oh.
Oh.
Smooth. Yeah, you're the only 10, Brian.
Guys, if y'all want to see a real 10 and an attainable 10, look up Brian Simmons. His number is 770. Just kidding. Go DM him. He'll respond to you. Cassidy's going to do some like voodoo on us or something.
God, yeah. We're just kidding.
Just kidding. Just kidding. It's for us only.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't really have any other notes. I did Patreons. Oh, our next, I wanted to say this too. Virginia was our next, like top listening state with like 15 downloads or something.
Oh.
I know. Do you know anyone in Virginia?
Well, I thought I did, but then I just remembered, I think she moved back to Ohio.
Oh, we have some Ohio downloads too.
Yeah. So I wonder if my ex-husband is listening.
Oh. Oh, how sweet.
No, it's not.
I thought you murdered him.
No, but Craig, if you're listening, I can tell.
Oh, that's funny. Oh, I can't tell if any of my exes are listening because they would all be in Georgia.
Oh. See, that's what I get for, dating online.
I wish I would have dated online.
It's not all it's cracked up to be, but I've definitely got to tell that story at some point. I think I'm going to relate it to something I'm going to talk about in the coming weeks. So.
Ooh.
Stay tuned.
I will.
All right. Do you want to go first?
I do want to go first. So do you want to just so you went first last week, I went first the first time, so we'll just
I think we'll switch off.
The flippy flop if we can if we can remember our order. Okay. So I had a story I was going to do this week, and then I saw this somewhere and I was like, oh, I know all about that. And then I started reading some shit and I was like, oh my God, I don't know anything that I thought I knew about this. So I'm doing, let me take some wine. Oh, you got to do a big, I
was just thinking that. Let me do a gulp for the two listeners who enjoy.
Yeah, your sister and my mom.
Oh, the mic got that.
Really loud. I just saw your throat move like a pelican. Okay, so I'm doing The Curse of Lake Lanier.
Oh my God.
You know anything about this?
I've kind of seen some memes about it, like, your friends aren't really your friends if they invite you to Lake Lanier.
If they invite you to Lake Lanier, right? Right, I've seen this too. So if you're not from Georgia, or if you are not familiar with Lake Lanier is our northern, the lake in North Georgia. It's our party lake, family lake, redneck lake, wealthy lake. It's everywhere.
I think it's probably like the biggest lake.
It is, yeah.
At least the northern part.
Yeah, it is. So it's located in North Georgia, 60 miles from Atlanta. More than 600 miles of shoreline, which that's way more than I thought. 600 miles of shoreline, borders 5 counties, including Hall, Forsyth, Dawson, Gwinnett, and Lumpkin, making it the largest lake in the state of Georgia and the deadliest. An estimated 7 million people visit the lake each year for recreational activities, including swimming, fishing, and boating. So I worked at a bar on Lake Lanier like 6 or 7 summers ago, and not only is it the busiest place I've ever bartended, it's the most people I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, wow.
It's crawling with drunk people and kids that are not being watched by anyone, just like drowning children and drunk people. It's very scary to be like the one sober worker amongst like thousands of just drunk people in the summer. It's very scary. Despite its recreational purpose, Lake Lanier has a dark past. Built in 1957 by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, Lake Sidney Lanier is what it was initially called. And Peter has a friend named Sidney Lanier, like first name and middle name, a male. And he's like part of his family. He's like related to the family that built this lake and the family that came from this lake, which is really crazy. Lake Sidney Lanier was originally named Oscarville. It's a man-made lake that was created to manage navigation and flood control from the Chattahoochee River and to supply water for residents in the city of Atlanta. The creation of Lake Lanier was plagued with problems from the beginning. During the 5 years it took for the lake to fill to its intended water level, the U.S. government purchased more than 50,000 acres of farmland, which ultimately displaced more than 250 families, 15 businesses, and relocated 20 cemeteries along with their corpses in the process. Many of the buildings and roads that were flooded out during the lake's creation were left as is. Along the lake's bottom, you can eerily find towns complete with roads, walls, and houses intact, like abandoned ghost towns immersed in water. The fact that a handful of grave sites had been submerged fueled suspicions from locals that the lake is haunted. Since the lake's opening, an estimated 675 people have died in the lake. And I'm not a math person, but that's basically like one person a month every year since the lake has been open. Like one person a month dies at Lake Lanier. That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
And not all the bodies have been found because the lake is 80 to 100 feet deep and close to 160 feet deep near the Beaufort Dam when it's at its fullest, which makes recovering bodies nearly impossible. The water is murky, the lake floor drops precipitously, and the bottom is covered with tree trunks, old structures, and other assorted debris that can ensnare swimmers and knock boats off course. Did you know? So I knew about the town and everything. There's a fucking racetrack under the lake, like a little motor speedway that was over on the Gainesville side of the lake.
I did not know that.
That's huge. I remember my dad told me that years ago. I was like, okay, Dad. And then I fucking read it.
Yeah, I remember like we used to go camping there all the time, and my dad like told me that there were people that lived there and they flooded, the whole thing. And like as a child, I thought that meant that the people were in their houses. And that they were basically like dead people floating around in Lake Lanier. So you know how like when you're swimming and like you're kicking your legs, you're making like a lot of air bubbles.
Yeah.
I used to get freaked out because I thought that was like hair from a dead person like touching my leg. And before we would go camping, I would have nightmares about like people like dead bodies in the lake or like giant turtles, because that's one of my what's the word? Irrational fears is turtles.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Turtles are so cute.
No, they're not.
Okay. I have the irrational, I'm a little scared of water, but I have the like irrational fear. I'm the person that's like scared of sharks in a swimming pool. Like if it's dark, I'm not getting in that fucking pool. I don't know what's in there. It's an underground pool in their backyard. It's been argued that most incidents are alcohol related, such as boating and ski accidents. U.S. Army Corps of Engineers and DNR provided a number of drowning prevention tips, which include using the buddy system while swimming, not venturing into restricted areas, and limiting alcohol consumption. I've been to this lake so many times. I've never seen a restricted area. That lake is a shit show. You can go wherever you want, do whatever you want. There's no...
Yeah.
I don't have a boat, but I've never seen any restricted areas out there. Alcohol isn't to blame for everything. Van Dobbs, a 56-year-old man of Forsyth County, went missing in his minivan on June 5th, 2019, and was found later that week still in his van, submerged in the lake. A fisherman somehow spotted the van and called police, and his death is still under investigation. So I found a picture of his van, first of all, which is terrifying. I'll put it on the Instagram. If I swam over that, I would scream for the rest of the week if I saw that. It's so scary looking. But the picture that like Channel 2 uploaded was basically just a little pinpoint on the map of the lake where his van was found. And it's along the coast of like a residential area and docks and boats and stuff like that. So he either drove in somewhere else and drifted that far, or he had to drive right through someone's property and backyard to get where this van was. It's so weird. This article I found was from travelnoir.com last May. Lake Lanier has sparked controversy again after a series of tragic incidents claimed the lives of multiple drowning victims. Over Memorial Day weekend last year, 30-year-old Reginald Terrell Whitehead went under the water and never resurfaced after falling off his jet ski. So he was like bobbing around just waiting with other people on their jet skis, and he just slipped and fell and he never came back up. And so have you heard the story? Have you heard anyone ever say that there's like Volkswagen-sized catfish in Lake Lanier?
No.
There's apparently like massive ass like monstrous catfish. Wow. And I remember I was trying to go to the lake with some friends. I want to say I was trying to go with Brittany Huff, but maybe that's just her family's very like boaty and outdoorsy. And so that's why I'm connecting those two. But Anyway, I was trying to go to the lake with a friend, and my dad was like, no, you'll die. Like, you're not going to that lake. I was like, okay, you're so dramatic. But he's also terrified of water. He doesn't go. He's never gone to the beach with our family. He doesn't go to the lake. We've had to like beg him to get in little blow up pools before. He's like, you're not going to that lake. You'll fucking die. So like, you suck. You're so, you guys are so strict. You're so dramatic. And then I later read in another article of like divers that have seen catfish that would like swallow you whole. And so that's also been in the news, and a saying or that bodies that go missing and can't be recovered because these fucking huge whale-sized catfish are swallowing people whole. 24 hours prior to Whitehead's accident, 61-year-old Michael Thompson of Gainesville drowned near a boat dock on Lake Lanier. And just weeks before, on April 28th, 17-year-old Dante Lane of Lithonia was pulled from the water after nearly drowning. Lake Lanier also claimed the life of 11-year-old Kyle Glover, who, I don't think this was that long ago, like 2012 or something. He was Usher's ex-wife's son from like another marriage or something.
Oh, wow.
But while they were married, they were like at Lake Lanier, and his son was on a jet ski, and this boat, like speedboat, just toppled over him and killed him instantly.
Yeah, people go so fast on Lake Lanier. I know that. I mean, I see people doing...
Is there like a speed limit? If you're in a speedboat, is there a speed limit?
I think there is a speed limit, but it's like, it's not governed.
It's like for the
very much
that you're in.
Yeah.
Right. And it's probably like the area that you're in. Like you can be so far out and go as fast as you want, probably. I don't know.
I think there's probably like a overall speed limit, and then there are areas where the speed limit's probably lower. I mean, that's just a guess.
Yeah.
But can you imagine, like, you and your family are chilling at Lake Lanier, and like Usher and his son are jet skiing or whatever on fucking Lake Lanier? Like, can you imagine that?
It's probably a super fan trying to get close to Usher, and then they just mowed over his son.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
That is horrible.
Over the decades, when the lake's water levels drop during drought, submerged roads, tire parts, and other artifacts have been exposed. Countless water sport accidents add to the body count, as people tend to forget that Lake Lanier, in spite of its beauty, was designed with flood control and water supply needs in mind, not safe recreation. There's a ton of images that I found of when the water level is super low, of just like random like sunken houseboats that are popping up out of the water, or just a few feet under the water, and like split half into trees that are like 2 or 3 feet under the surface of the water. And so when you're on a boat or a jet ski or something, you're going to hit that and you just go flying. It's so scary. In 2016, there were 8 boating accidents and 9 drownings, all leading in fatalities, which is the most deaths that Lake Lanier has seen in a year. There's also been stories of a ghost of a woman who roams the lake in a flowing blue dress. Swimmers of almost fatal accidents say her arms reach out for them in the watery depths. Divers have also reported seeing the same woman. She said, I know, this is what I had never heard before. She's said to be Delia Young, one of 2 women from a car accident where a Ford sedan careened off a bridge in April of 1958 and tumbled into the lake. The car wasn't found right away, and the disappearance remained a mystery for 18 months until Delia's handless body resurfaced under the Dawsonville Highway Bridge and was spotted by a fisherman. I feel like fishermen find everything.
Yeah.
If you want to be like a crime scene investigator or something and you don't want to go to school for it, just be a fisherman, because you're going to find some shit wherever.
I'm going to ask my father-in-law to be on the lookout for any personal stories he might be able to give us. Does he fish a lot? Yeah. He fishes on, I forget what the lake is called. It's not Lanier though.
Like Hartwell. That's a big lake too, though, isn't? And that's also in North Georgia, isn't it? Hartwell, Lake Hartwell.
Yeah, and you know what? You mentioned Brittany Huff. I think that I was supposed to go to Hartwell with them one time on their boat, and like something happened. I think it rained or something, and we couldn't go.
Probably best.
Yeah.
Just all the time. 30 years later, while the bridge was undergoing construction, the blue Ford sedan was seen and recovered with Susie's body, who was the other woman that was in that car accident, inside of the car. And her family was finally able to identify her and give her a proper burial. So she still, I think I read, she still held on a watch and like some jewelry that her family like recognized and said that's her 30 years after the car accident.
Yeah, because I can't imagine what her body must have looked like being submerged in water.
I just watched this episode the other night of this woman who was like, I don't know, she fell into this lake or something like that, and they found her body a week later. And a week, you know, they don't show everything, but they showed like her hands and her feet after just 1 week. Like this shit that was growing on her from just 1 week in the water. 30 years. They probably couldn't even tell it was a person right away.
Right.
So she got her proper burial and was identified by her family. And despite being found and identified earlier, Delia Young still is said to be seen wandering the bridge in her blue dress, appearing lost, restless, and looking for her hands.
Oh my God. That's creepy as fuck.
This woman has been spotted by like residents, divers, construction workers, like multiple people over like a span of 50 years have described the same looking person.
Hang on, my cat is scratching to get in.
Aww. Well, no, you don't get to.
She decided she didn't want to come in. I'm like, you gotta either come in or not.
I just want to see what you're doing.
I just didn't want her scratching to come through, but
I know. I tell Peter when I come up here, I'm like, if Penny is gone, like come check and make sure she's not like knocking on the door. So YouTube is filled with diving videos with people doing like, I guess it's not deep sea diving, but it's pretty fucking deep. Videos, and you can see like sunken houseboats and videos of the lake's floor. And longtime diver Buck Buchanan, this guy, he has a lot of videos too, and he said that he sometimes felt body parts in the lake during his many excursions. He said, quote, "You reach out into the dark and you feel an arm or a leg and it doesn't move. That's scary."
Oh,
Deanna, these videos, I am into like the most horrific, scary terror. I want to watch all the movies, all the shows. The videos of this guy hopping off of his like little boat at the crack of dawn and diving into Lake Lanier is the scariest videos I've ever seen in my life. There was one video that was 20 minutes long, and I'm just so used to, the scene is just set up to where like from all the things I've watched in the past, I'm just waiting for something to like pop up in front of him or come like bite at him, or I just kept waiting for something to jump out. It's so terrifying, this guy in the lake. And the Lake Lanier is the darkest water. Like you can be swimming or like doggy paddling in Lake Lanier and you can't see your torso. Like you put your hand in the water and look down at your hand. It's so dark. It was
and gross.
And disgusting. It's like black and green water. It's not pretty. Oh, his videos are the scariest thing I've ever seen. And I don't feel scared of the water, but I mean, I'm scared of the dark.
I'm scared of water I can't see through like that. I mean, because you just don't know if you're going to come across a dead body or what. And then on top of that, it's just disgusting. Like, there's rotting animals and people in this water. I just don't want to be a part of it.
Well, no, I'm weird about water because, like, I've gone on cruises. I'll go on a cruise. But you can't pay me to, like, fucking snorkel. I'm not going to be snorkeling. I'm not going to be, like, I don't know.
I would like to snorkel in, like, some clear water.
In, like, all the way, like you're in the air kind of water. Like, you can...
Very close to the top.
I want to see the pieces of sand, like, 100 feet down. Yeah, I want to be able to count the little sand particles that I see.
Right.
Did you see the movie 47 Meters Down?
No.
Oh my God. It's so scary. Her and her sister, she's like getting a divorce or something. And so her and her sister go on this vacation. They're in Aruba or something like that. And they, when you stay at these like resorts and there's all these big companies that are trying to, come do this excursion and that excursion. And they were so expensive. And so they found this little group of kids or guys, I guess, like super young guys that, we'll take you out on the boat and you can come on our boat and use our cage. It's free just for the afternoon. And so they go, and her sister in this cage, and the fucking chain snaps that they're in, and they drop 47, they like land on the ocean floor. And they're just down there for like the whole entire movie.
What?
Yes, it's so scary. It's so scary.
They have oxygen, right?
They did, but they were just supposed to be cage diving. They don't have oxygen to be doing like deep sea diving. Oh God, you have to watch it. It's a very good movie and has a good rating. And they're not
stuck in the cage the entire time.
I'm not going to tell you what happens. I'm going to watch it. Okay. It's not predictable. It's really good. It has a high rating too. It's really good. And also, when I learned about the bends, do you know what that is? Like where you swim, you can't swim up like as fast as you want to because hold on. I looked it up so I didn't sound stupid trying to explain it So it's also known as decompression sickness. And it's a disease, or not a disease, but like a condition that occurs in scuba divers when dissolved gases come out of the solution and into your bloodstream, forming gas bubbles in your circulation if you like swim up out of water too fast.
That's crazy.
Right. So when she was like getting rescued or whatever, she couldn't, when she was finally free, you have to like swim up slowly. And there's fucking like, there's sharks all around her. Oh my God. You have to watch it.
So she got rescued.
Deanna, just okay, I'm almost done. One more thing. Owners of lake houses and boats that frequent the area most have claimed to hear church bells from an old sunken church that was submerged in the town, and voices in open water at night to the souls of their evicted graves, of the souls from their evicted graves. Today, the lake holds about 625 billion gallons of water and hundreds of bodies.
So do you think they really vacated those cemeteries?
I don't know. I don't think all of them. I read that some of because it said 20 cemeteries. Why would there be 20 cemeteries in one town? There's not even 2 cemeteries in a lot of counties. So I don't understand that. But multiple articles I found said 20 cemeteries. So I don't know. I definitely don't think all of them, but maybe some of the family, like family ones. I don't think they did because otherwise it wouldn't be haunted.
But okay, so if I just want to know if a scientist is listening, can you tell me if they flooded it without digging up those bodies, they wouldn't resurface because of the water erosion of the earth, right?
Okay. God, you need to watch the movies. Did you ever see Poltergeist?
I've seen parts of it.
So the main plot in Poltergeist is that their neighborhood was built on this cemetery. And then the neighborhood floods, and so all these bodies are coming up into people's houses.
Oh. Gotcha.
So
yeah, and I think that's why in Louisiana they have what's it called? When it's above the ground?
Oh, I don't know, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Those videos and photos after the hurricanes and stuff of all those coffins. Are they called coffins?
Yeah.
No. Really?
Yeah, coffins.
Oh, I thought there was another technical. No. Casket.
So.
Casket.
Oh yeah, casket as well.
Yeah. Coffin just sounds very Dracula to me.
It does.
But just all those caskets floating down the, oh my God.
More technical, dead body vault, is that?
Dead body vault. Oh.
Are you going to Lake Lanier anytime soon?
No. I did go a few years ago though, and we went swimming. Like I swam in it.
You know what we have to do for the podcast? We need to
What?
find something that's like haunted or something and go to it together.
Okay.
And like record what happens.
Okay. Maybe when we get to 50 episodes, we'll go somewhere and do a recording.
Yeah, that sounds good.
You know, Oakland Cemetery is like right down the road from me.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it haunted though?
It's a cemetery.
Not all cemeteries are haunted, are they? We need a haunted house.
I think cemetery would be more haunted than a haunted house.
But to me, it's like you're haunting because, you know, you have, I don't know, unresolved issues with your death. So you would be in the location in which you died. Not where your body is buried.
That's your soul, not your body, right? I don't think just because you're buried doesn't mean you can't still be like wandering around.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what? We should go to Oakland Cemetery and use that TikTok filter that shows like the ghosts of people or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very scientific.
In the daylight though. I'm not going at night.
No, we have to go at night, but like Peter and Cody maybe should be waiting nearby.
Like right behind us.
Yeah. Cody would probably be like, no way, I'm not going.
Yeah, I was trying to get Cassidy to go there with me before it was Halloween to just like walk around and be spooky and make like a scary TikTok. And then we made all these plans and I looked it up, like timing and stuff that we were trying to plan the next day, and they close at 5 in October. So people don't go do like dumb shit like that. I mean, it's a really nice, like big gated cemetery, so it makes sense. We'll have a little family one in someone's backyard.
That's one that we need to find. There's no rules.
Yeah, that's true. You guys, email us and tell us where your family plots are.
Yeah. So also,
episode there.
Email us at NFWpodcast@gmail.com if you have a haunted house and you live in the metro Atlanta area.
Yes.
And we can come record a podcast.
Of an actual haunted house.
Yeah. A real one.
Don't just make some haunted house and like lure us in there.
Yeah.
Because if you do, we have your email evidence.
Yeah. Also, we probably have to know you to actually go there because the whole reason we created this podcast is because we're very well versed in the crime world.
Yeah, try us. I look a little more clear, I think. Okay, should we take another picture?
Oh yeah. Hang on, let me hide my forehead. It looks extra big in this lighting.
Maybe I should get bangs. Should I get bangs?
I think it'd be cute.
You're saying that, so I look stupid.
Do I look stupid?
No. No.
Okay, you heard it here first. Candice thinks I look stupid.
No, I don't.
And she's been encouraging me to have bangs all along.
For years.
Okay, do you want to try to guess what I'm going to do?
You said it, what did you say it was? You gave me like a...
I said that it was crime related.
Do I know it? Like, would I guess it?
I think you would know it.
Okay, so I'm just starting in the dark. I don't have anything
to
go off of. Are you doing JonBenet Ramsey?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm doing the staircase.
I'm hanging up.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm doing false confessions.
Ooh!
Yeah.
Wow, I wouldn't have guessed that. I would just keep guessing people. Oh, is it a person that I know?
No, I tried to pick stories that are not like well known.
Yeah.
But
how would I ever have guessed?
I don't know. I always like to make people try to guess stuff that they would never know.
I know, I do too. That would have taken a really long time.
Yeah. I would sit here and let you guess at least 10 things before I told you.
10?
I'm just kidding.
It's just more editing work for you.
It is. Okay, so On the topic of false confessions, I want to say first, if you want to learn more about this, if you like books, the book that I actually bought for this is called How the Police Generate False Confessions, and it's by James L. Trainum, who was a former homicide detective. I'm not even a third of the way through it yet. There was so much information in there. I was like, I have to stop reading this because otherwise my part of the podcast is going to be 2 hours long.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but it's really good. I highly recommend it to anyone who likes to read. If you don't like to read, or if you just enjoy video entertainment, then I would highly recommend Confession Tapes on Netflix.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's like 2 seasons of that, and then there's also Dream Killer and Making a Murderer on Netflix, and those both involve false confessions.
That book might also be on like audiobooks too, maybe. I love a good audiobook.
I think it might be, yeah. I know for sure I got it on Kindle, and it's cheaper on Kindle than the paperback version.
Yeah.
There's also a documentary called This System: False Confessions on YouTube. If you don't have Netflix, that's like a good thing to watch. But in the book, I learned he said that it's hard for the police to acknowledge that a confession is false. They get tunnel vision and they don't look at other suspects. So they kind of like decide that this person is guilty and they just hone in on that and kind of make all the evidence point towards that person.
Yeah.
And almost all formal interrogation training includes techniques to detect lies and guilt, and those techniques have largely been discredited. I don't know about you, but I feel like if I was being interrogated, they would definitely think I was lying because of like how anxious I am. Like I would be fidgeting and I would be like,
wouldn't you? I always think that I would just start like laughing. Like you've got to be kidding. Be laughing. Like I'd look like the fucking Joker sitting in there.
Yeah, like in that Dream Killer documentary, I forget what the guy's name is that's like the main character of the documentary basically, but he laughed while he was on the stand and they were like, "Do you think this is funny?" And he's like, "No, I don't." But it's just so ridiculous because he had nothing to do with it, so he's laughing, but
right.
Yeah, I would definitely laugh at the wrong times. So
and that thing where you said where like once an officer says like has made their mind up that this is the person and everyone else is on board with it, I think that's so often because the case gets closed or whatever, and then they always bring in, like when you're watching a show, like a new set of eyes or someone else, so someone else who doesn't someone else's like perspective, like winds up having the case and winds up saying, this person's innocent or whatever, because they didn't have that tunnel vision.
Right. And if you're a cop, I'm not trying to say this is all cops by any means, but a lot of cops are lazy, and once they can get a confession out of somebody, even if it takes 24 hours of interrogation, that's less work for them to have to process all kinds of other stuff.
Right. And then they're done. They get a little gold star for putting you away, and then they're on to the next.
And they want to close the case. So if they have like no other suspects, it's like, well, okay, it's going to be this guy then.
This guy sitting here laughing.
Right. So on average, people are interrogated for more than 16 hours when they produce a false confession. And that's an average. So that means there are some that are way more than 16 hours.
Yeah.
People most at risk of giving a false confession are mentally ill, intellectually impaired, addicts, children who are 1/3 of exonerates, and people who believe in the criminal justice system. And I thought that was like the most chilling fact, because people think like, okay, if I just tell them what they want to hear, I've been in here for 16 hours already.
Yeah.
I want to go home. They told me if I tell them that I did it, I can go home.
Yeah.
Then they're going to see the DNA evidence and they're going to, follow the DNA evidence instead of me.
Right.
That's not true at all. There are so many cases that I was reading about where they find DNA evidence that would exclude the person who confessed, and they just kind of like ignore that and they just keep going with the confession.
Right.
because they think
Because you
it's stronger. And they're like, oh,
yeah.
well, you must have been acting with another person, and we don't know who that person is.
Oh, right.
Also, 30% of all DNA exonerations involve false confessions. That's a lot. Can you imagine how many people have been like put to death, or how many people have, served their entire sentence or whatever, and they were never exonerated because they gave
Yeah.
a false
Yeah.
confession?
I have found so many like death row shows on ID. It's the most depressing thing
Yeah.
for someone to get the death sentence and have been swearing for like 40 plus years that they're innocent.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So, one thing I learned is there's something called contamination, which is where the investigator provides the suspect with details regarding the investigation. And that's if, like, say the person was strangled and they're like, um, okay, so we know this person was strangled. So they already give that information to the person that they didn't know because they didn't do it. So what did you strangle him with? And the person's like, a rope. And they're like, no, we know it wasn't a rope.
Yeah.
What did you really strangle him with?
Yeah.
And by the way, all that part is not recorded when they record these. They only record the clean version where they get all of the facts, quote unquote, right.
Yeah.
But that also happens with truly guilty suspects. So they will convince a truly guilty person to admit to things that they believe is true at the time, and it winds up not being true, and that's called over confessing. So a person might confess to things that they didn't even do, but the investigators think that it was true, so they make them basically say it. So the cops are not supposed to use torture, threats, drugging, or inhumane treatment. But if you ask me, holding somebody in a room for 21 hours is inhumane.
Yes. Yeah. That's torturous.
Yeah.
I know you said something about kids earlier. Is there a amount of time that you can have a kid in a like be detained like that in a questioning
I did not find any evidence to show that there was any kind of law against it, but in one of the stories I'm going to tell you about, there was a child who was held for 21 hours and he did not have a parent or counsel with him.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But what was I saying? Okay, they can use lying, trickery, or other non-coercive, quote unquote, methods. They can tell you, like, we have video evidence of you, or here's a
Right.
police statement that someone wrote that said they saw you at this location, and it's not even true at
The
all.
whole like we already know, but we need
Yeah,
you to tell us. We
right.
grab it. We just need you to say it.
And they'll tell you, like, if you tell us, we'll cut you a deal, or we'll make sure we take care of you. They leave it really vague. And
Yeah.
then when the time comes and the person's like, wait, you told me that you were gonna cut me a deal, they're like, well, we don't really have control over that. It's the prosecutor.
Yeah. Time to go.
Yeah. All right. So, also I learned that they don't have to read you your rights, like your Miranda rights, if they can claim that you are, quote, not in custody for the interrogation. So to do that, they would tell you things like you're free to leave. And I saw that several times on that confession tapes show where they would
Yeah.
tell the person, like, you can leave if you want, but we're really trying to solve this murder of your daughter, and
Right.
that guilt trips the person into staying.
Right.
And they also talk people into waiving their Miranda rights. Victims, witnesses, and
But then after
informants.
like so many hours though, yeah, and then after so many hours of like if you're sitting somewhere for if I was sitting in a room like that for 16 hours, I'd be like waive everything. Like
Yeah.
I don't give a shit. I don't even know what my rights are at this point. You just want to get out.
And sometimes they'll just like leave you there for several hours by yourself and then come
Yeah.
back
And
and
just
they'll give you a
watch
bunch of
you on that camera.
yeah, they'll just give you a bunch of coffee and make you super anxious and
Uh,
um yeah, I think a lot of people would love to say I would never confess to something I didn't do. But just think about if you were being held in a room for 16 hours and all you had was like coffee and maybe water.
Yeah.
And they kind of told you, like, well, you know, if you tell us, the sooner you tell us what you know, the sooner you can get out of here.
And then you're so delirious though. Like I've seen so many cases where you're so out of it and so delirious that you start to think like maybe I did do this. Like maybe I, you know.
Yeah, that happens in a lot of cases. And so while it says they're not supposed to drug you, they will like bring in people who are already drugged or drunk because of their own like choices.
Oh.
I feel like that's wrong. If the person's telling you I'm drunk, you should stop the interrogation at that point.
Right.
So, yeah, they'll even do this to like victims, witnesses, and informants. If they're uncooperative, like they'll tell them, we're gonna call Child Protective Services on you and your kids are gonna get taken away if you don't tell us the truth, or you're gonna be harassed at work, or you're gonna be we're gonna spread the word that you're snitching on people.
Or like we already have your kids.
Yeah.
In custody, so you have to tell us this to get out and get your kids back.
So I just want to say, you know, there's like this stigma that, and you'll hear it sometimes on these like crime shows that we watch where they're like, well, this person lawyered up immediately and that made him look guilty. Don't fucking worry about that at all. Like, lawyer up 100%. Right. Even if they're asking you to just come in and be helpful because your neighbor down the street got murdered.
Yeah.
Lawyer
I have seen that before in so many shows though. And it's hard not to think that though.
Yeah.
It's hard to think when you see someone not say the first word they say is, I want my lawyer. It's like, well, because you fucking did it.
Right.
Of course you want your lawyer.
True, but, you know, if you're innocent, you definitely need a lawyer.
Right, yeah. Just as much as if you're guilty.
Yeah. And even if they don't read your Miranda rights, that especially means that you can just walk out. You don't even have to say anything. You can just leave.
Yeah.
Until they come and arrest you, then you can ask for a lawyer.
But that's also the thing of like, if you're not a criminal, if you haven't spent a lot of time like getting into trouble, you don't know you don't know things like that. If police came up to me and said this and this and that, I'd be like, oh my God, sure, yeah, you know, whatever you say. I wouldn't think like, fuck you, I know I can walk away from you right now. I'd be terrified.
Well, now you know.
Well, yeah, now I'll be like, fuck you, I know my rights.
Yeah, now the listeners know to say fuck you and walk away.
Fuck you. 2 middle birds and turn around.
That's right. All right, so the first story I have, his name is Jonathan Barr. He served 14 years in prison. On November 19th of 1991, a 14-year-old girl named Cateresa Matthews left her grandma's house. Hang on, my voice is like, I sound like a smoker.
I passed it on to you.
Okay, so in 1991, a 14-year-old girl named Cateresa Matthews left her grandma's house in Dixmoor, Illinois, and was not seen again until December 8th of 1991. Her body was discovered on a well-worn path along I-57. She had been shot in the mouth at close range with a .25 caliber pistol. She was naked from the waist down and obviously a victim of sexual assault. Her panties were found around her right ankle. Her jeans were draped across her chest. Seminal fluid was found from the vaginal and rectal swabs. About 10 months later, a kid named Keno Barnes, who was 15, allegedly informed police that Jonathan Barr told him that the last time he saw Cateresa, and I don't know if I'm saying that right, she was getting into a car with Robert Lee Veal and Robert Taylor. Barr, Veal, and Taylor were 14 years old at the time of the crime. So on October 29th of 1992, the police brought Veal in for questioning. He was interrogated for more than 5 hours without the presence of his parents or counsel. He signed a handwritten statement implicating himself, Jonathan Barr, Robert Taylor, Shane Sharp, who was 17, and James Hardin, who was also 17. Later that day, Robert Taylor signed a handwritten statement implicating himself and the 4 other teenagers, also without parents or counsel. A couple days later, Shane Sharp was in custody for 21 hours and signed a handwritten statement as well. All 3 of those confessions contradicted one another on the basic facts of the case. On June of 1994, the crime lab identified a lone male DNA profile from the sperm collected. All 5 defendants were excluded as the source of the semen, yet prosecution pushed forward rather than seeking the perpetrator.
What?
Because they had confessions and they thought that that was stronger than the DNA, I guess. I don't know how.
Oh my God.
So Veal and Sharp pled guilty to first-degree murder and received 20-year sentences with parole after 7 years in exchange for testifying against the other 3 teenagers. Over the next 2 years, all 3 were convicted. Taylor and Hardin got 80 years, and Barr got 85 years. All subsequent appeals were denied, including post-convictions for DNA testing. Post-conviction requests for DNA testing.
Holy shit.
This, totally astounds me because this was I've read several of these stories now, and you can go to innocenceproject.org and read all the stories.
Yeah.
But, it's so common that even before trial, they can find DNA that would exclude the person in question, and they just ignore it. They just say, well, there was someone else there that you're not telling us about or something. They're just so, I have to say egotistical and believe, I got the confession.
Yeah.
Anyway, so in 2009, Hardin, Taylor, and Barr sought DNA testing, and the police department tried to claim that they were unable to locate the DNA until they were threatened with contempt of court. They finally found the DNA, and it uncovered a full male profile that was entered into the CODIS database of criminal offenders and matched a violent serial offender named Willie Randolph. At the time of the crime, he was 33, lived in the victim's neighborhood, and was on parole after serving a 20-year sentence for armed robbery. He was arrested April 12th, 2011 for that murder. So based on the DNA evidence, the judge vacated the convictions of Taylor, Hardin, and Barr on November 3rd, 2011. The state's attorney's office dismissed all charges against the 5 men. Taylor, Hardin, and Barr were released from prison. Beale had already served his prison term. Sharp had served 10 years in prison, but had been given an additional 10 years for unrelated drug charges, and he was released in February of 2012.
Good God.
So if that's not bad enough, here's a time where something horrible happened to somebody and they told the police about it, and the police took it as a confession.
Oh, no.
So this is Kirsten Lobato. She served 16 years in prison, and she lived in Panaca, Nevada, which is 3 hours away from Las Vegas, and that's important to the story. Okay. So in late May of 2001, Lobato was visiting friends in Las Vegas, and she was attacked in a motel parking lot by a man who attempted to rape her. She whipped out a knife and slashed at his groin, and when she drove off, she saw him on the ground, mobile and apparently crying. She described this attack to numerous people. On July 8th of 2001, in Las Vegas, a homeless man named Duran Bailey was found next to a dumpster in the parking lot of a bank building. He had been brutalized. His eyes were swollen shut, his skull cracked, several teeth had been knocked out, his carotid artery was cut, and his penis was removed. A knife had been stuck in his rectum. So keep in mind, so May 2001 to July 8th. So it's a few weeks later, right? Yeah. On July 20th of 2001, Las Vegas detectives received a phone call from a Panaca resident that they heard from someone else in Panaca that Lobato had cut off a man's penis in Las Vegas. They drove to Panaca to question Lobato. They told her they knew that she had been recently attacked. So she thought they were there to talk to her about what happened to her. So she recorded a statement with them about her attack, and she stated that it happened at least a month ago and described the location clearly as a motel parking lot, not a dumpster at a bank. And she also described the man being alive when she left, not beaten to death. She mistakenly believed they were informing her the man who had attacked her died, and she expressed remorse and made some other comments that made detectives think that it was a confession, even though the details were almost completely different.
Right.
So they arrested her based solely on that statement, and they did not investigate clear alternate perpetrators with motive and means to violently kill Bailey. So early in July, on July 1st of 2001, about a week before he was found dead, he actually assaulted and raped a woman who lived in an apartment building near the bank. And he had threatened to kill her if she told anyone, but she did eventually report that to the police on July 5th. And she told a number of male neighbors who had ongoing disputes with Bailey about the attack. And despite all of that, the police dismissed those potential suspects. None of Lobato's DNA, her hair, prints, etc., were found at the crime scene. They did find someone else's prints that were, not in the system, but they weren't hers. Not to mention, there was also semen found in the victim's rectum. I don't think that came from...
Was that hers?
The female victim here. I mean, she's a victim. God. So there were also cigarette butts that they didn't even test. And, cigarette butts can not only have prints on them, but they can have, DNA from your mouth. They could have compared that to the semen. But they didn't, because they had a quote-unquote confession from Lobato. So at trial, they relied primarily on her statement that they characterized as a confession. Numerous family members and neighbors testified that Lobato was in Panaca on July 8th, which was when he died. The prosecution did concede that she was in Panaca as early as 11:30 a.m. on July 8th, but the medical examiner determined that he could have died as early as 4 a.m. on July 8th. So they think she killed him and then returned home, which was 3 hours away. Anyway, so the state argued that this put Bailey's death at the time, at a time when Lobato was not accounted for by alibi witnesses, and the jury convicted her. Finally, in October of 2017, entomologists testified that there would be blowfly eggs on his body a short period of time after his death, but there were none, which indicates that at the time of his death would have had to be closer to when his body was discovered, which was around 10 p.m. on July 8th, when Lobato was in Panaca. The judge vacated Lobato's conviction based on that testimony. And she got out. Can you imagine?
After 16 years?
Yeah.
There is a podcast called Abuse of Power. Do you listen to that? It's new.
I haven't heard of it.
It's this fucking power couple that's getting people out of jail.
Oh.
After being falsely imprisoned, or they're telling people's stories. It's so good. And it's people served. I think there's only 10 episodes so far, but it's all people like that have served 10, 15, 20, 40, 50 years in prison, and they finally get out.
Yeah, to me, it's just so crazy that you can have DNA evidence that proves that you're not the person that killed the victim.
Yeah.
And they still proceed with convicting you. And in jury, people on juries, you need to be a little more responsible and think about these types of things. Because just because somebody confesses, it doesn't mean that they did it. I mean, you have to consider the amount of stress that they're put under. And if you're shown like a video of this person confessing, you're only seeing the part that they want you to see. You're not seeing the hours beforehand where they're basically coaching you and leading you into.
But I feel like also in a jury's position, like you're not a policeman. You're not trained to be there to do what you're there to do. You know, if I saw a confession, I'd be like, oh, well, there you go.
Yeah, I agree. And I don't remember where I heard it, but I totally agree with this, that juries should consist more of people more familiar with the law. So like law students or lawyers or something. Like it should be consistent of people like that, not just like Joe Schmo down the street.
Right. That doesn't want to fucking be there because, you know, or some mom that's got like 10 kids at home that's like, okay, we got a confession. She did it.
And there have also been so many times where I've seen on shows where like there was like that one person who was like, I didn't think that she did it, but everyone was like intimidating me and making me feel like I had to say she was guilty.
Yeah.
And if you're one of those people who's making people feel guilty, you suck.
Yeah, you do suck.
Yeah. You should turn off this. No, don't turn off the podcast, but you should go to our Patreon and donate to us.
Yeah, and then we won't think you suck as much anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should though. Jury should be like you said, law students or even like retired judges or retired something. Even like retired policemen would be better than me sitting in there, you know?
Because most people like we don't even think about like what our rights really are. So you're not sitting in the jury box thinking, well, this person had the right to remain silent, but yet they still, you know, confessed. I mean, you have to think of other factors at play.
Yeah. I want to be in a jury so bad. I've never done it.
Me too. I got selected for jury duty 2 times, but like basically like they tell you that you've been selected and you call this number and they tell you like if you have to report. And I had to do that for like 3 days in a row. And they never made me report. And I was really sad.
I think there are a lot of people who want to do it. I think it should be like a volunteer kind of basis, not like let's see how many random people we can get in here. Like, interested in doing that, you know? So why don't you let us call you and tell you that we want to be in the jury?
Yeah, there are people who don't want to be registered to vote just because they don't want to be selected for jury duty.
Exactly right. Yeah. It's so strange. I want to do it.
Me too.
I'm going to be on something good though.
I hope we get on a jury together.
Oh my God. That would be
that would never happen because we live in different counties, but
I would be like, I don't know her. I've never seen her in my life.
That would be amazing.
Okay, so we did let me bring up that little test. We did a poll.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it.
I sent it. I'm going to go to where I sent it to you. We did a poll on the Instagram to see how you guys wanted us to end this episode. I think we want to kind of mix it up. We'll circle back and do like the would you rather, I think was really popular. I had a lot of people.
People like that.
Told me that was funny. Nobody wanted to do 2 truths and a lie. I thought that would for sure win.
I know. I was so excited about that. I was even like trying to think of what I was going to say.
I don't know if people maybe don't care to know anything about us, or if just a psycho quiz sounded way more fun.
I think they just want to know if we're psycho.
Yeah, well, we are. We don't got to take a quiz, but we will, because that's what you voted. But we're also going to do that for a while. We'll put up a little poll to see what.
Yeah. I'm also going to post the link to the quiz that we're going to take so that our listeners can also determine if they're a psychopath.
Yeah,
please report in. Please report in if you are a psychopath or if you're not. We want to know.
If you know one.
I mean, I know a few.
Well, we're about to find out if we really are. So, do you have it up?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll do the pink and you do the purple.
Okay.
Right? Okay. So we're going to read the questions, and then we'll both just judge ourselves, and then we'll read our results at the end.
Are you going to read your answer?
Yeah. Okay. Oh, like say what my answer is to every question?
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is quick. It's only 12 questions, so it should take. So number 1. Most would describe me as charming and nonchalant. I can turn my charm on and off like a faucet. Is that not me? Describes me somewhat, or this is definitely me?
I say not me.
I think this describes me somewhat. I found that I went through these today. I didn't do the results, but I went through these. I'm like, I could pick for almost every single one of these. This describes me somewhat. If it was just yes or no, I think when I get the gray area, I always choose the gray area.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel like a lot of things are gray areas too.
I'm like, I could see myself doing a lot of things.
Yeah, me too. Okay, so number 2 is I do what I want when I want, the moment the impulse strikes me, regardless of what others want.
I think that describes me somewhat.
Me too, actually. I'm pretty impulsive.
Number 3, if something goes wrong or turns out badly, it's not my fault. I think this somewhat describes me too.
I'm going to say not me. I always think everything is my fault.
Oh, that's funny. I'm like, I didn't fucking do that. Don't look at me. Even though I'm like...
See, I do like cartwheels in my mind of trying to figure out how it was my fault.
Wow. That's so funny.
All right, so number 4, I've gotten into legal or criminal trouble as an adult, not just a speeding or parking ticket. Definitely not me.
Yeah, it's not me either. We're good. Number 5, I'm easily the best at what I do. Bar none, nobody could ever take my place. Not me, I guess.
I'm going to say not me.
Okay.
I don't think I'm the best, especially not like that far.
Yeah.
Bar none? I don't know.
Yeah, not bar none. I mean, I think pretty highly of myself sometimes, but not
right.
Not me.
It's few and far between for me.
It's because I'm a Leo.
Okay, I do whatever I feel like doing, and I don't care what others think, or even if it's illegal.
That's not me.
Not me either, but I mean, I kind of relate to the like, I do whatever I feel like doing.
Right. If it didn't have the, or even if it's illegal part, I would say this is definitely me.
Right, but
I don't care.
If it's illegal, no. Not worth it.
Yeah, no. Oh shit, I just went back to the top. Number 7, every person for themselves. I don't see the point in feeling sorry for other people and have no desire to help others. That is not me at all.
Yeah, not me either. I've gotten into legal or criminal trouble when I was a teenager, not just a speeding or parking ticket. That's not me.
Not me either. Number 9, I have no problem or concern in lying in order to get what I want. That's not me.
Yeah, not me either. Quote, live in the moment is what I say. The future will take care of itself, and learning from your past is pointless.
YOLO.
Yeah, that's not me.
Live in the moment. Yeah, no, not me. Well, I don't know. The future will take care of itself and learning from your... No, okay, yeah, that's not me.
See, this is another one where I feel like I agree with the first half, but it loses me in the second half.
Yeah, same. Number 11, I never feel remorse, shame, or guilt about something I've said or done. That's not me.
Definitely not me.
I mean, I'll say and do a lot of shit, but I really feel guilty about it all the time.
I feel guilty about things I haven't even done.
I feel guilty about things I'm going to do.
Right. I don't see the point in taking on responsibilities of any kind. They just weigh you down.
Not me.
Is this quiz serious?
I mean, this was the most serious one that I found. I saw so many like Cosmo ones or like
right, yeah.
Thing. This is
Central.com.
Yeah, guys, this is the real deal. This is the most, this isn't some fucking MySpace quiz, okay? Score my psychopathy quiz. Oh.
What'd you get?
Oh, what? It just gives you a number? Did you get a number?
Yeah, I got a 1. What'd you get?
A 3. But out of what? Okay, read yours.
It says no psychopathy. You answered this quiz consistent with people who would not generally be considered a psychopath by research methods currently used to quickly screen for psychopathy in the population. So it says like 0 to 12 is little to no psychopathic tendencies.
Oh, I got the same thing then.
Yeah.
Even though I got a 3.
It does say common myth. While many people believe that psychopathy is more prevalent among CEOs and Wall Street bankers, this is a myth not supported by any research. While on the surface, it may seem that many of the symptoms and traits of psychopathy might lend themselves to positions of greater power, the two are not synonymous.
So we're not as psycho as we thought.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we're pretty normal.
I'm not psycho.
What?
I gotta make sure to tell Peter I'm not psycho.
Yeah, we have the proof now. I can print this out.
I took a 12-question quiz.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Okay, so episode 3, down the hatch.
Down the hatch.
Email us. I want people to email us some stories. I know that it's on the Patreon, but still go to our Patreon. The link is in our Instagram. I know on the Patreon it's like a perk of being a $5 donator or something that will do your story. But this early on in the game, like, email us some stories and send us some stories on the Instagram. You don't have to do the research or the whatever. Just send us someone's name or something you want us to look up, want us to cover.
Or even if you have like a personal story of something crazy that happened to you or something crazy that happened to someone in your hometown, please let us know.
Yeah, a personal story, a story that you don't think has got enough light, your fucked up story and your family. We want to hear it all. Family stories, cheating. Ooh, I would love to find a good, like, cheaty, murderous-y, something like that. Right up my alley. Literally any story, the craziest story that you've ever heard in your life, send it to us. It can be anonymous if you want. Only we'll know.
Yeah, we won't reveal your identity unless you want us to.
Or unless you piss us off.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
And they say we're not psychos.
I'm 3%. Or I'm a 3.
I'm a 1. I'm something worse, probably.
Together we're a fucking 4.
If there's something such as a reverse narcissist, like, I don't think everything's about me in a good way.
Yeah.
You know? I think people are talking about me, like, but in a bad way.
Right.
That's me. All right, well, see you next Tuesday.
Oh, yeah, see you next Tuesday.
You almost forgot our new sign-off.
I know, I forgot our tagline. Okay, bye.
Bye.